You know, have you ever asked yourself, is this just me being shy or is it something more? It's a question a lot of us have. So in this explainer, we're going to get crystal clear on the really important differences between shyness and social anxiety, so you can get a better handle on your own experiences. Let's dive in.
It is so easy to get lost in all these labels, right? Shy, introverted, socially anxious. These words get tossed around all the time, sometimes as if they mean the same thing. And honestly, it can be super confusing to figure out what's actually what.
So, have you ever found yourself in that spot? Maybe your heart's pounding before you walk into a party, or you just keep putting off making a simple phone call, and you think to yourself, wait, is this just how everyone feels, or is this something bigger for me?
Well, if you've been feeling that confusion, I promise you, you are not alone. So our goal today is simple. We're going to cut through all that noise and just lay out some really clear distinctions. By the time we're done, you'll have a much better way of making sense of it all.
Okay, so first things first, before we can really start comparing shyness and social anxiety, we need to be on the same page about what these words actually mean. Let's build a solid foundation by defining our three key terms.
First up, shyness. You can think of shyness as a personality trait. It's that feeling of awkwardness or tension you get, especially when you're around people you don't know. It's a super common part of being human.
And then we have introversion. Now, this one gets mixed up with shyness all the time, but it's totally different. See, introversion isn't about being scared. It's all about energy. If you're an introvert, big social events can feel draining, and you recharge your batteries by being alone. An introvert can be totally confident. They just need to manage their social energy.
And here's our third term, social anxiety disorder. Now this is where things shift. We're moving away from a personality trait or a preference and into something more serious. The absolute key words here are intense and persistent fear, a fear of being judged that can be so powerful it actually gets in the way of you living your life.
All right, with those basics down, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to put shyness and social anxiety side by side and walk through 5 key distinctions that will make the difference between them pop.
Okay, let's kick things off with the first major difference between the two.
So this first one really boils down to the why behind the feeling. If you're shy, the discomfort is usually about the situation being new. You go to a party, you feel a bit awkward, but after a little while you start to warm up. But with social anxiety, the fear is laser-focused on judgment. It's this deep fear that you'll be judged negatively, and it can happen with strangers, friends, even family. Next up, let's talk about the impact. Just how big of a deal this feels.
And this one is huge. It's all about the intensity. Shyness might make you think twice before you raise your hand in a meeting, but if you really have to, you'll probably still do it. Social anxiety, on the other hand, can feel completely overwhelming. It can stop you from doing things you want or need to do, like going for that job interview or even just answering the phone. It really disrupts your life.
All right, difference number 3. This is all about when the worry actually hits.
So think about it this way. With shyness, that uncomfortable feeling usually happens during the social thing itself. But with social anxiety, oh man, the worry machine starts up way, way before. People might spend days, sometimes even weeks, dreading an event, just playing out every possible bad scenario in their minds over and over again.
Number 4. This one is really important because it's about what you physically feel in your body.
Look, we've all felt butterflies in our stomach or had our cheeks get a little red. That's pretty normal shyness. But social anxiety can trigger your body's full-on alarm system. We're talking about severe physical symptoms, like shaking, sweating a lot, feeling sick to your stomach, or even having a full-blown panic attack. It feels very real and very scary.
And for our 5th and final key difference, let's talk about what people actually do as a result of these feelings.
This really comes down to one key difference: hesitation versus avoidance. A shy person might hesitate. They might stand by the snack table for a while before they join a conversation. But someone with social anxiety might not even go to the party at all. The fear is so intense that the only way to feel safe is to actively avoid the situation completely.
So after hearing all that, you're probably thinking, okay, so what now? What does this mean for me? Well, this next part is all about figuring out when these feelings might be a sign that it's time to seek out a little extra support.
So just take a second and look at this list. Does any of this sound familiar to you? This isn't a diagnosis, of course, but if you're nodding along to things like intense physical reactions or consistently dodging events you secretly wish you could go to, or if you just feel like it's holding you back, well, that might be worth paying attention to. Just recognizing that pattern is a huge step.
And if you do see yourself in those descriptions, here are just a few gentle things you might think about. The first one is just acknowledge it. Let yourself feel what you're feeling without any judgment. Then, if you feel up to it, sharing with someone you trust can be incredibly helpful. And remember, there are professionals out there whose entire job is to help people with exactly this stuff.
We've definitely covered a lot today. But listen, the whole reason we went through all this is to give you the power of knowledge. Because simply understanding what's going on inside you, well, that is an incredibly powerful thing.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Getting clarity isn't about slapping a scary label on yourself. It's about looking at your own experience with some compassion. And that understanding, that self-compassion, that's the real starting line for any kind of positive change.
So I'll just leave you with this to think about. With everything we've talked about, what is one small, kind step you can take for yourself today? It doesn't have to be some huge, dramatic thing. It's just about moving forward with a little more understanding and kindness. Thanks so much for spending this time with me.